This is the Supporting Strategic Writers Writing Strategy by Dr. Charles MacArthur and Dr. Zoe Philippakos. The materials are by Caitlin Gallagher and Michelle Blake, and the video is by Kate Cottle. The Supporting Strategic Writers Writing Strategy is both a reading and writing curriculum because college students need support in both areas as they learn research and academic writing. The SSW curriculum also includes tools like metacognition, self-regulation, and structured peer review. The writing strategy takes students through every step of the process to create an academic paper, and students' first step one, is to start with their own ideas. Students analyze their writing task and activate prior knowledge by brainstorming about the topic. Students are asked to look at their prompt first to analyze their writing situation and fill out the TAPO. TAPO stands for Topic, Author, Audience, Purpose, what is the student's purpose in writing the paper, and Organization, how the students will organize their papers. Here's a blank TAPO. And here's a blank ideas T-chart. This is what students use to think through what they already know about the topic and what questions they have. Here's an example of a student analyzing the prompt using TAPO. And here's an example of a student filling out the Step 1 TAPO and ideas T-chart. Here's a completed TAPO. And here's the completed ideas T-chart. The next step in the writing strategy is Step 2, understand what others say in critical reading. In this step, students analyze research sources by using the TAPO again, they'll close read, and then students will use the Argument Graphic Organizer, or GO, to take paraphrase notes. You've seen a blank TAPO already, and here's the blank graphic organizer, or GO. Students use this to build citations and look for elements in a persuasive article like an issue statement, the author's position, reasons and evidence, and opposing reasons and evidence. The first step is for students to find articles that will work for them. Here's a student searching for changes in online education, finding an article in Forbes, and starting to skim the article, deciding it will work, and copying it into Word in order to complete the close read. First, the student fills out the TAPO. Here's the completed TAPO. Then the student reads the article, highlighting and annotating, looking for elements from the graphic organizer. Here's the article read and annotated. Then the student fills out the graphic organizer from the article, taking the opportunity to paraphrase the ideas from the article as well as build a complete APA 7th edition reference entry. Here is a completed GO. For the writing strategy, students complete a GO for each article they read. Students also write summary response essays about their articles to build their skills for annotated bibliographies. The next step is Step 3, integrating sources with your own. This is when students discuss their ideas, look at all of their notes in the GOs, and arrange that information on the ideas T-chart to decide how they want to make their argument in the essay. Here is a blank ideas T-chart. We used it in Step 1 for brainstorming too. We wanted to remind people that what the TAPO from Step 1 looked like. The student still hasn't decided what their purpose is, and that's okay. Here's the student transferring their ideas from the TAPO GO to the ideas T-chart. Once the student completes this, evidence for one side or the other will make it obvious which one is the easiest to argue, and then the student knows their purpose for the essay. For instance, here is a completed ideas T-chart, and the student has rich specific evidence about how education is predicted to change. One thing to note, students keep track of their citations here for the next step. The next step is Step 4, planning your essay. In this step, students take the information from the ideas T-chart and organize them into an argument GO. At the same time, students cite their sources to avoid unethical use of sources. We've worked with a GO before, and it helps students to use it for both reading and writing because then the parallel textual elements become clear to the students. Here's the student taking information from the ideas T-chart and putting it into a GO to plan their essay. The first thing the student does is copy the reference entries for later use. Here's the completed GO and the plan for the essay. The next step is Step 5, drafting. Students need to stick to their plan and write clear sentences for main ideas and reasons as well as provide supporting details. Here's a student drafting their paper from the plan, and one thing students are challenged by is to stick to their plan, but if they do, the drafting is pretty fast. This is in contrast to students' drafting process when they don't plan. It takes the longest and requires the most self-regulation. Here, however, because students have already done the heavy intellectual lifting, the drafting is streamlined. Here is the completed first draft. The last step in the writing strategy is to revise and edit. Students evaluate their own work as well as get feedback from peers and their instructor. They revise for structural elements and edit for errors. Students learn how to use the argument essay evaluation rubric for themselves and their peers. You can see that the elements from the go are the same here: issue statement, main idea, reasons and evidence, etc. Here is the student reviewing their essay using the rubric. The student reads their own essay and identifies and labels the elements from the rubric. Then the student gives themselves a score based on how well they think they did. Here is a filled out rubric, and this is feedback you would expect from an instructor more than a peer or a student completing a self-evaluation, but we wanted the feedback to be clear. Here is the student revising in response to the feedback. Finally, we are done. This revised draft is ready for submission with clear ideas, writing, and citations. Thank you. If you have any questions about supporting